now. We're live on Facebook. If you all could please share it on your pages, please. So go to the Rocki's Reality Facebook page, take the live video from there and share it onto your platforms, please. Thank you. The age of technology.
I know, I love it.
We didn't know we would be here when we were dialing up, huh? When we were getting our internet through the phone line.
Nope.
Remember when somebody used to call and throw you offline? Take the live.
Turn it down.
This is Rocki with Rocki's Reality, and you're listening to Motor City Woman Radio. Music, relationships, life, Black culture. Or should I just say culture? Right, all that pretty much. More music, educating and entertaining, more Black businesses, just more. More me just being me. Sometimes it might get a little 7-Eleven like Beyonce. You can follow Rocki's Reality on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Rocki's Reality is now 2 full hours of unfiltered and unapologetic conversation. Good evening. Good evening, good evening. Welcome to Rocki's Reality. I love it. I am excited, and happy Black History Month, everyone. Even though y'all know I celebrate Black history every day, but we are especially commemorating things. So let me show everyone right quick my shirt, my I Am Black History every day, just making it official. Didn't want people to think that we were not commemorating Black History Month on Rocki's Reality. You all know I am all about educating and entertaining us and celebrating our Black experiences, our Black voices. And our special show for that is we are honoring some dynamic Black authors this month. And they're also speakers and writers, publishers, and they just do a gamut of things. Just like, Black folk, we do about 5 or 6 different things. It's not just one thing we do. And I think that's just what's been passed down from our ancestors, that we just have to master different things. So I want to welcome all the authors to the show. And then later on, we'll have a young lady by the name of Chrissy Hudson joining us to discuss her Coming to America pop-up, which is also an ode to Black culture, Coming to America, the sequel. So I want to welcome first, we have Dr. Lisa Wicker, whom we have been threatening to get her on the show for over a year, but everyone, you all have probably heard me mention Lisa Wicker's name several times in the past. She is one of my absolute favorite mentors. She's always someone I'll text her, I'll call her, she'll inbox me to check on me. And I just appreciate you, Lisa, always. She is a human resources paragon. She's a great connector. She's the publisher of Career Master Magazine, and just also the founder of Career Master Awards. And Lisa, I'm not going to get all into the full resume. We'll get a little bit more into it. But she is also the author of her latest book coming out is Capacity, Shatter the Limits, which, by the way, I completed that masterclass back in, what was it, like July of last year. And I thank Lisa for dealing with me because my schedule was crazy. And I was like, oh, Lisa. So, but I always appreciate her for being patient. And she encourages me to move, but also to move in my pace. So that's what I appreciate about you, Lisa, that you push people, but you're also like knowing that people move at their own pace. So welcome, Lisa. We're going to get into her book. And then next we have Erica Lynn Speaks, who actually you have like 2 books. You have the 7 techniques of healing, and then you have a guide on your website as well.
Right.
So
you got to give people something free. Thank you.
Right. Right. We know about that. Give them the free download to draw them in. Right. We know that's a great tactic. And it's also just proven also that when you do this, you aren't just doing it for the money, that you really are trying to change lives and affect change and impact. So, and what you give out for free will come back 20-fold. That's what I'm seeing a lot of times. So, but welcome to Erica Lynn, author, motivational speaker, fly girl from Detroit as well. And so she's going to also talk to us about some healing and getting your stuff together, as that is like a general theme for us. As just people and just Black people in general. So we'll come to her. And then we are going to also have Kiana M. Davis joining us to discuss her journal that she did called I Remember Her, which is pretty much an inspirational novel of healing that she did in dedication to her mother and her grandmother who are deceased. So she said she's working on joining us, so she'll be joining us soon. And Kiana is also part of my Rolling Out family. So shout out to Kiana. She was one of our past contributors with Rolling Out. And then last and certainly not least, Booker. Got a lot of ladies tonight. So we're going to do the ladies first. And of course, we're going to get to you, Booker. So shout out to Booker Snow, author, producer, writer, director, poet, just all dope things. His book is Journey to Love. By the way, everyone else I'm going to show a copy of, but I just want to show that Booker dropped one off and inscribed it for me. Thank you, Booker, from a message. So, but welcome to you, Booker, and also one of our loyal supporters with the Rolling Out Wine Up. So I appreciate you, Booker. I know you've been tapping in for months now. And I was like, okay, who's this guy? You know, sometimes you got to decipher, are people stalking you or are they really, truly interested? So I do appreciate your support, Booker, and tapping in. And I just appreciate you for being a transparent, mature man out here, because we need you, especially in this space of social media. So I really appreciate the work you're doing. So we're going to get into that later. And looks like Kiana is joining us.
Oh, the makeup is pretty. Love the makeup and the hair.
Thank you. Thank you. How are you? What's your shirt say?
Make moves, not excuses.
Oh, I like it. Nice.
I need that shirt. That's what I be telling my kids. Make moves, not excuses.
Yeah.
I said what I said. Okay.
Exactly.
I love it. I love it. So Kiana, I know you're doing some adulting now. So, but I appreciate you.
Yeah.
Joining us.
This week has been, man, Mercury retrograde. That's all I got to say.
Is it almost over? Is it almost over?
The 21st.
Okay, come on.
I can't wait.
Cause me and hubby been like, and my best friend was like, well, you know, Mercury is in retrograde. Well, I said I needed to get in grade retro or something. Get back. Come on. Get to spinning the right way or something.
Exactly.
So so welcome everyone. And again, as I said earlier, Kiana M. Davis is part of my Rolling Out family, author, healer, speaker, and your journal. I remember her. Listened to your speech earlier, Kiana, and I was tearing up like, oh Lord. You know, because you only get one mama. So whenever someone talks about their mother, it is always a poignant and an endearing moment. Because actually you have Ben stopping in his tracks because you know his mother is deceased as well. So anyone whose mother is not here can identify. And I'm grateful that I still have my mom, and we just celebrated her 74th birthday last Friday. So I'm just grateful to my mother and to her. And I know she'll be listening to this later. So again, mama, shout out to my mom. So, and I'm grateful to have her because she listens to every show. She critiques every show. Like seriously, like every show, she will be hounding me like, where can I get the replay? So it's always just a blessing to have that support from whence you came. So let's get into it. So tonight we're going to start with you, Dr. Lisa. If we can, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
We're going to start with you. Then we're going to move on to, next we're going to move on to Kiana, then Erica, and then Booker. And then, like I said, later on, we'll have Chrissy Hudson joining us around 8. So let's get into it. So Robin, if you could bring up the capacity image right quick. So Lisa, which book is this for you? Like number 5 or 6?
No, this is my third book. That's the summit. That's the summit.
Okay, so not that one. That's the summit. That one is later. The very first one, the capacity one.
Yeah.
Please.
No, this is my third book.
Oh, third. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is Lisa's third book, Capacity, Shatter the Limits.
Yes.
Nice.
Pre-order available now.
Exactly.
And so this is like apropos for Lisa, because one thing that, yes, thank you. If you could make it bigger, Robin, thank you. One thing that I love about you, Lisa, is just your tenacity. Like from the moment we met, Lisa was like, you do not tell me no. So like she was just like, we getting it done. Like it just in the sweetest way, but she's so firm with it too. And I just want to master that, because I know me, I'm like abrupt, like, ugh. And I know we all have our styles, but I really admire that from you, Lisa, how you are just tenacious. You are not taking no for an answer. And I've learned that from you, that if someone tells you no, you're going to find another way.
Figure it out.
So that is pretty much a lot of what I've learned from you, Lisa. And so thank you, Robin. So this is her book. So right quick, where can people find the book? Let's get that out of the way so we don't forget that. Where can people go now to pre-order the book, Lisa?
Today, you can order it on my website, which is drlisawicker.com, and that's drlisawicker.com, and it's pre-order. The book will be available at all bookstores and on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and in another 2 weeks. I just spoke with the publisher today, and we're done. So I'm totally excited. And at this point, you can get a pre-order, and the price that is there right now on my website is lower than what the publisher's price will be. So at this point, you can get the book at $24.99, and I am so excited about this piece, and there's some reasons why I'm excited about this particular book, but that's where it's available today.
Love it. I love it, Lisa. So, and then I just want to say shout out to our Facebook friends who are fans who are watching and who's watching on YouTube. So Lisa, Capacity, Shatter the Limits pretty much is, again, like your mantra. Like ever since I met you, and Lisa and I met when I covered her Career Master Awards for Rolling Out.
Yes, you did.
And I was just so inspired by her warmth and just how she just pulls other women with her. And I've just really learned a lot about that from you, about connecting with others, and just how, like when you're faced with obstacles, you're like, okay, I'm not getting flustered. I'm just gonna find another way. And I just love that about you, Lisa. So talk about, first of all, give us a snapshot of whom you are, like your background and what brought you to this point.
So quick snapshot. I'm a girl from the Mississippi Delta, born and reared, went to school there, grew up in the 60s during the time of segregation. At the time, there were colored fountains and white fountains, and going through back doors and understanding the dynamics of what the separate but equal life was about. However, I had a rich foundation because my parents and grandparents never allowed us to not be able to understand that we had choice, no matter if there was a colored and white fountain. And at the end of the day, I ended up going to Michigan State, graduated, and started my career at General Motors at 21.
Green.
Go green, hey Spartan.
You have to.
Yes, I'm just saying. We just
Here
saying.
we go blue. Okay.
Hey.
I was just saying this to
We got to salute each other.
We just have to
Wolverine surrounded by Spartans. I'm a Wolverine surrounded by Spartans.
That's it. Hey, we just got that. You know that thing, go green. But I ended up starting my career at the world's largest organization at the time of General Motors. And when I was 21, I was supervising in the factory. I was actually supervising people and employees on the line of 56 people at the age of 21. So I had to learn very quickly that my degree didn't give me the latitude to know how to lead. I had to learn to lead by understanding people and building relationships and listening to people. And so long story short, I went from an intern to an executive. So I left General Motors as an executive, and then I became the head of MGM Grand. I am the person that put the MGM Grand in Detroit as the head of HR. I was an officer and spent 2 years there, left there, started my own company, and then someone knocked and asked me to join Chrysler, and I became the chief diversity officer at Chrysler. and an executive there for some of the production operations. And subsequently, I retired in I believe it was 11. Thought I was retiring. Instead, I left and joined Lowe's, came to North Carolina and became the head of the international HR operations, as well as the head of employee relations. And so I went from 21 years old to 56 people to 300,000 people at 1,800 locations. And so I am now retired for sure and out of corporate America. However, I didn't retire from work because I love what I do. And at this point in my life, I'm giving back. I'm in my passion, I'm in my lane, I'm in my destiny and purpose. And what I learned during my background and my journey is that my DNA has always been that I had the capacity to do it and I needed to do it now. And I learned that where there were limits, I could shatter them. And so my book is about that journey. But more importantly, I thought about this book 11 years ago. I had this thought in my mind 11 years ago about capacity. And as God would have it, I wasn't ready. So he had to have me do some other things so that I would understand what really my capacity was. And so when I finished my journey in 2011 in corporate America, I realized at that point, my DNA is that I go around, I go under, I go above, and I go through, because no matter what, coming from the Mississippi Delta where cotton was picked to all the way here, I know that I have a lot that I had to shatter and understand the difference between imposed limits and those that I imposed on myself. And so this book really is about that vision that I have today, which is what I'm doing. I'm giving back. I believe that you can't do anything alone. It takes two, and two is more than one. And the multiplication happens when you have a faster group to do things with. So my gift right now is walking in purpose to help women advance. And I have a vision that women can advance to any heights of their desires. There is a methodology to it. And so I teach women what that is. And so this book is really a growth companion for women. And I give you my DNA, and it's 7 steps that I share so that you can get to your North Star, whatever that may be.
I love it. So 7 steps, and then Erica has 7 techniques. So I guess 7 is like a divine number here.
It is.
Apparently.
Yes, it is.
So I love that. So Lisa, what for you has been, as a Black woman, and please, like, you obviously are the most seasoned of us here.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that on.
So I want, from your perspective, as far as from coming from the Mississippi Delta to now, what are some things that you see that have helped you on your journey? That resilience being built from, because that was, the Mississippi is like one of the most racist states.
Oh yeah,
in America. So what are some things that have helped you over the years that you would pass on to the new generation now?
Probably the first thing is that your truth allows you to get clear on what you have to offer the world. If you can't get truth with yourself, or you don't even understand your own truth, there's no reason to believe that you're going to be able to offer your authenticity, which is what, in the Shatter the Limits Masterclass we talked about, right? Is that, and it's such a cliche to talk about authenticity, but I term it in my book, culture story. If your story is not there, and you don't understand the culture of your story and how you translate that to where you're going to be able to give, giving is the first part of your ability to get the reward that you want. So when you're about the business of driving towards the North Star, or driving towards what you want to accomplish, if you can keep in mind that your truth starts first, you have to have the clarity, but it really is not about you. So whatever it is you're trying to accomplish is about the product. Let's say it's a product. The product is not about you. So if you keep the line of sight that whatever it is you're trying to accomplish is about somebody else and the legacy that you're going to leave, then it's so much clearer about the journey. And I didn't know that as I was starting my career, but as I matured and started to understand that it's relational and that everything we do is just that, then your capacity will show up, all right? But you got to understand what part of that you're using. And so what I talk about in the book, and then talking about what I've learned from there to here, is that choice is a matter of choice. If you don't choose, someone else will choose for you, or someone else will use you as part of their choice. And so you have to really understand when people come to you for help, or when people ask you for certain things, you have to make a decision about the choice of whether you want to get involved and whether or not that's going to benefit you, or whether they're using you for their opportunity. And so that's where I believe I've had the ability to see and to have the divine discernment of going from A to Z, what I call the capacity ascension model, is that in order to go from A to Z, you have to understand the hierarchy of the order. And we learned all these things when we were in school, each one of us, about the Maslow's hierarchy. You can't get from step 1 to step 7 until you go through some basics. And so if people are not dealing with the basics first, which is what my sister on this program is talking about, healing and all the things that they have to go through, there's some clarity that we have to come through in terms of the truth of who we are. And the way to determine the right truth is to decide whether you're going to hunt for what I consider elephants versus ants. And we talked about that in the class. There's a big difference between what you're dealing with. If you're busy to be busy and you're just about the business of being busy, you wouldn't know what you're hunting. So you have to step back to determine what is your line of sight and whether or not you're going to go after meat or you're going to go after ants. And the meat is the elephant. And that's what I've always done, is as I think back and I look at how I mastered my career, no, I didn't have it all together, but I made some choices. If you think about, I worked for only 50 Fortune 150 companies. I made a decision of what type of companies I was going to work for and who I wanted to be associated with. And then I understood when there was time to go. And it didn't matter that what people thought, whether you were quitting. No, I didn't quit. I just changed my environment. So at the end of the day, you have to make those decisions about who you choose to be with and whether you're going to use your capacity. And I teach that there's a big difference between capacity and potential. We're not talking about potential in corporations and companies. People always say, oh, you have potential. Well, no, yeah, I have potential, but you're talking about tomorrow. I'm talking about today. So what am I going to use today? And today is capacity, okay? What I have in my cup to use today. And so I want people to understand that. And that's why I wrote the book. It's not about potential. We don't know what tomorrow is. So what are you doing with your time now? And the concept of what I leave you with in this book is my epilogue, which is from now on. So from now on, what you gonna do? Period.
I love it. I love that spice. See that spice? What I'm talking about? Like Lisa, she just gets me together every time. We had lunch one time, and she just got me all the way together. I'm like, you know what, Lisa? I love it. You made some great points about, and my best friend has said this too, like, know thyself. You just got to know yourself. And that's part of what I embrace too. Like you said, that's something that has worked for me. Being authentic, being transparent, being true to who you are, and being intentional about your goals. Yes. Like not just being haphazard about, oh, I hope this works out. Like being intentional about, this is what I want to work out. This is what I'm going to focus on as well. And so I really love that, Lisa. So I'm going to come back to you. We're going to put a pin in it. We're going to come back and talk about Career Master, because that's a whole nother beast that Lisa has created and conquered. Yes. But I want to move on now to Kiana. Now, Kiana, do you have like a copy of your journal, by the way, that we could see?
I mean, I have the sample that I sent you. Did you get that at all?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay. I did. So sure. I didn't know if Robin could bring up the PDF, but I will tell people right quick, Kiana, where can people go to find the book? We'll just get that out of the way so they can know.
Okay. If you go to the website, it's www.irememberher.net. So if you click on the journal page and scroll down, you'll see that there's a sample link so you can download. It's a 20-page sample that gives you an idea of what the journal looks like and kind of like an introduction to like the stages of grief and my grief journey.
Okay. And so it's out now, right?
It's still pre-order status.
Okay, still pre-order. So go to irememberher.net to order, right?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so one thing Kiana and I do have in common, she is my fellow CT fam. So, that's the only green and white I claim is Cass.
Well, CT in spirit, because Mama went to CT and CT played me. They played me though. I was upperclassman when I came back to Detroit because we moved to Flint for a few years. And you know, they see we got that rule about upperclassmen. You
can't get in unless you show sophomore year, I think.
Yeah.
Sophomore years, just okay. So that's a whole nother story. But
exactly.
Okay, so welcome, Kiana. Kiana is also an actress,
Yes,
a writer.
Yep.
She was one of the few writers we had on Rolling Out who could actually write well. Because that was so hard to find people who could actually write well. Lord, y'all don't know. And Kiana knows I'm a stickler. Forgive me, Kiana, for all those edits I would send back. I know I would get on her nerves. But anyone who knows me know I'm OCD about every word. It's gotta be right. It's gotta be right. But welcome, Kiana. And first, condolences on the loss of your mom, even though it's been a few years. Still, I'm sure that is something that's raw and present for you, and something that we realize is that grief is an ongoing process. It's not something that like ends. Like you just don't get over a death. Like it's an ongoing process, and you go through stages, and sometimes you might come back to stage 2 when you've reached stage 5. Like you might sometimes double back to that denial and that anger. So Kiana, tell us about your book, and of course, what the journey that led you to this point to write the book. And then also in a little bit, I want to talk about how you is Asbury Park going to be your first feature film, or?
Oh, this is actually my second feature film.
Okay.
But my first feature film was the one that was a few years ago. Bianca, Who Did This to You? That was my first lead role. Like in the movie, I'm just a supporting character.
Okay, good. So maybe you and Booker can connect, because Booker got some movies coming out, some stuff going on. We're gonna Booker be doing some stuff. Okay,
we can chat later.
You're right. And this is what I love to do. I love when I also strategically pick people so I can connect them on my show. So if y'all don't know, that's my MO by now. That's what I do. When I'm vetting people, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they could connect. And because as you said, nothing can happen inside the silo. Lisa, like the ripple is not going to come outside the silo. If you need a ripple effect, it needs to come outside of the silo. So 2 is better than 1. If you want to do more, you do it together. We all know teamwork makes the dream work. All of these cliches are true. Yeah. Like you cannot do nothing. You cannot do anything by yourself. So Kiana, talk about, I remember her, how I brought you to this point. Kind of, if you can share with us a little snapshot of what happened with your mom and what brought you to writing I Remember Her.
For those that are not familiar, so basically the background was for I Remember Her. It really was divine inspiration. That is like exactly how I would describe it, because I literally dreamt about it before I wrote it. So it was early on in the grieving process, like the first year toward the end, after I had moved and we had laid my mom to rest. And it was a lot going on. That was like a huge transition point, because I went from one home to finding a home. It was just a lot of transition going on. And so when I got to the place where I'm at now, currently, I was getting settled in, and it's just one night, it just hit me. Like my mother, early on, she would visit me a lot in my dreams. And that one particular night, she had visited me the night before. And I just woke up, suddenly with this idea about a journal. And I've never heard anything like that before at the time. I've never seen anybody mention anything about a grief journal before. So it kind of struck me as a little odd, but anytime you get inspiration like that, you don't question it. So
exactly. Right.
I started writing.
Odd to who? Might not be
exactly.
So odd. Right.
As a fellow writer, you just go with it. So
nothing is odd.
No. Especially being a creative person, like I get creativity spurts like that, especially at night. I'll wake up out my sleep with ideas. It'll be the next morning I have ideas. That's just, as a creative, I've gotten used to that. But this in particular, I knew it was a spiritual thing. I knew it was divine guidance. It was her, it was God talking to me. And then from that point, like in 2018, just going through life transitions, there were times I had really bad writer's block. I had, personal things I was dealing with, because 2018 was like literally the roughest year of my life and my whole adult life, after that time, after my mother passed away. And like before that, my grandmother had passed away 3 years before that. So within that 3-year time span, 2018 was a very rough transition. But yeah, when I got to that point though, it's something that I couldn't put down. Like no matter what what was going on, it kept popping back up in my head. That's how I knew I was supposed to write it. That it was divinely given to me to create. So I saw it through, and then before the pandemic hit, everything was written out, and essentially that's when I Remember Her was born. But the speech part, which Rocki knows, I was again divine guidance. I met Mr. Keon Clinton. I'm not sure if Rocki probably is familiar with him, but I'm not sure if you guys are. Keon is a very phenomenal young man, great speaker. We happen to be a part of something called the Leadership Experience Tour with Sean Fair. And so Keon actually, when I used to work for Dyson part-time, Keon would come in and visit his mother. His mother worked at the Bed Bath & Beyond where I was working for Dyson. And so we would just chat, and then we started talking. And I started talking about my journey, like Rocki, how I just randomly talk about certain things. I mean, but when that's your experience, you can't help but share it because you don't know who you're going to touch. And sometimes God puts it in your heart to talk to somebody randomly because they might be going through the same thing or have a similar experience, which I found that has happened a lot more since I've written this journal.
Right.
I'm touching people just in casual conversation because a lot of people are grieving right now.
Yeah. Especially after 2020, man.
So that's why I've been very diligent about getting the message out there. About doing these podcast interviews. Actually, a friend of mine gave me a really great idea. Rocki, this is something new that I haven't shared with you yet. But this is
exclusive?
It's kind of exclusive. I haven't mentioned on podcast yet. So in conjunction with I Remember Her, a friend of mine gave me a great idea. I was trying to think of a tool that can add value for free to just give away to people. So what we came up with was a 10-step strategy guide for coping with grief. When you first lose someone, what are some things that you can do to help you deal with the initial shock? And even something that you can use going forward. These are things, they're small things, but just simple things that you can do that may help you, kind of balance and help you to like navigate, because grief, as you said, it's very complex. And for me personally, there wasn't one specific thing I felt. Still to this day, there's not one specific emotion that I have. Like, it's literally a roller coaster of emotions. I mean, and it's totally different. Like, but use my brothers and I as prime example. I have two younger brothers. For me, because the dynamic with a mother and a daughter is totally different, obviously, than the mother and the son. And my mother was literally, as you grow into adulthood, your mother becomes your best friend. If you had a connection as a child, as a woman, your mother literally is that best friend bond.
Mm-hmm. Even when you don't want her to be, she there. Mama is there.
Mom was a cheerleader. She was the best friend. She was the mama.
Right.
The fashion stylist.
Right. And not that you wouldn't want your mama to be there, but like, so that's what a mother does. Even when her children don't know that she needs them, that she's there.
Yeah, she's one of those women that if she thought you might need something, she'll just grab it. She'll be out shopping somewhere. You'd be like, what is all this stuff?
No, don't let them go to Sam's Club.
Oh my gosh.
Sam's Club and Costco, but that is a mother, won't they? And it'll be something that you didn't even know you needed until they got it.
Yeah. Especially shoes, child, Lord. So she'll be out like at Marshall's, Kohl's, and she'll just be out like me and my cousin, because my cousin's like our younger sister, and she'll see some boots or something. She's like, yeah, I saw these. These look like you. The hooker shoes. We'd be like, what's a hooker boot? Why they gotta be hooker boot?
Okay.
But she would get me and my cousin to match a pair of the hooker boots. So all the thigh-high boots, she'd pick up a pair. And I'd be like, oh, thanks, Mom. Thanks. Okay. So Mama knows.
Mama knows.
So it's like little things like that. But she was one of those type of people that
I love it.
Even if you didn't have a need at that moment, she would anticipate a need, in the future, and she would just have it on hand for whomever needed it, especially women, children. My mother had a really soft spot for women, fellow women and children. So, that was just my mom, and that's something I carry with me too, because I'm the same way. So I'm very much I can anticipate someone's need without them really having to say anything. I'm just one of those type of people, because and plus I'm very highly empathic. So
I'm gonna say we empaths. Yes, we are. Yeah. So wait, so the 10 steps, is that within the journal? The 10 strategies?
This is a separate thing. So
okay, like Erica said, we got to get something for free. So yeah.
yes. So that is the free coping guide. And of course the journal will be mentioned in there. We gotta get this debate out there and then have that at the end.
Right.
Some more.
Right.
What's the website?
Right.
Copy of the journal. But no, that's something I'm working on, because like you said, you have to give value, like you were saying. So you have to add value to people. It's not about just, here's my book or here's my service, buy. Is it, what is your service and what is your product doing that can benefit me?
Exactly.
So, essential in sales, even with something like grief, it's like, what's in it for me? Because it's very me-centered, especially when you first are in the grieving process. That's all you can really focus on is yourself. Like, how am I going to get through this?
Right. So can we pull up the clip from her speech right quick, Robin? This is just a snippet of Kiana's speech that she did with the leadership tour. That's a cute dress, by the way.
Never been more important than now to take your tragedy, your grief, and find a sense of purpose. See, I Remember Her has allowed me to find my purpose again. So I just have a challenge for each and every one of you. Any of you that have lost someone, any of you who are lost, like I was, I want you to, if you haven't ask yourself, why am I still here? See, because that person is gone, but you're still here. Ask yourself, what is my purpose? What kind of legacy am I going to leave behind, and what kind of impact am I going to have? See, for me, I Remember Her as part of my legacy. And I vividly remember growing up, the conversations my mother would have my brothers and I about finding your purpose and your legacy and family. So I'll have one last question, for all of you before I leave this stage. How many of you?
That's nice.
Right, and I think you said how many of you will join me in healing? Is that what you said, Kiana? So did you want to expand on that, or I guess, and then I'm gonna move on to you, Erica, because this is kind of along the same vein that you talk about healing and finding your purpose. So and thank you, Kiana. Like, when you did the speech, like, how did you not cry? Was it like hard for you to?
And
because I heard the tremor, because the empath in me heard the tremor in your voice at some moments. I was like, oh.
Well, it was like a lot of pressure anyway, because for one, my speech, technically, I've written it out like a long time ago before that moment. And Keon actually went over. He was one of the first people that read it. He was like, "Oh, this is great." He was like, "All you need to do is 1, 2, 3 change, and that's it." But it's that time limit thing. So I was, again, my perfectionist self overthinking things. And when they said that time limit, they had me messed up for me. I'm like, I gotta cut it down. But everything I'm saying is essential. Like, everything I had it laid out, so everything ran straight into each other. Every point hit. So I'm like, how the heck could I possibly trim this? So that was part of the motion right there, was the time. Like, am I on time? And the other part definitely, was the emotion behind delivering, making sure each point hit, because I wanted you to feel that, because I know someone in the audience watching was feeling and really resonating with what I was saying.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. I love it. And so we're going to come back later, and we'll talk about Asbury Park, your second feature film. You play an attorney?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, he's looking pretty stern in that one scene. I'm like, okay. So, which Asbury Park is by a Detroit filmmaker. I'll have to bring up his name. What's his name?
Kim Williams.
Kim Williams. Okay, so shout out to him, Detroit filmmaker of a necessary film about what's happening, and we'll get into later. We'll watch that. trailer. But I want to move on to Erica, and thank you for being patient, Erica. And Booker, you know, we coming around to you, and I got some questions because I made some notes, Booker. So get ready, okay? Yeah, because I was reading this earlier, like, oh, okay, 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 grown man stuff right here, grown man. That's all I'm gonna say. So we're gonna come next to you, Booker. But Erica Lynn. So tell us, right quick, Robin, if we can go into Erica Lynn's clip. She's speaker, author, motivational sister, motivational, I almost say speaker, but motivational sister. That works too. So this is her book, 7 Techniques of Healing. And then if we could also go into her clip, Robin, and the book is available at your website, Erica Lynn Speaks.
Yes, ericalynnspeaks.com, and it's on Barnes and Noble and on Amazon.
Okay, so let's watch a quick clip of Erica.
And they think that they're all alone and nobody is there for them. They don't come out the house for days. And when they do come out the house, they put clothes on, put makeup on, and when people see you, go, oh, you beautiful. But guess what they did in order to come out the house? They put a mask on. And as I get ready to leave, I walk out of the door. Now I'm walking down the hallway of the hospital. And it is true, like it is on a movie at night. It's dark and Jason can't get you. You are determined to complete all the steps that you need to get you there. You are determined that when you reach the finish line, you're not gonna get scared and start all over again from the beginning. You are determined to find out what your purpose is. When you take your mask off.
Okay, I love it. So I had to, I like that particular clip, Erica, because I can definitely identify with the masks that we have to put on. The ones we literally have to put on now to go outside, but the figurative masks that we put on, especially as Black people, especially as women, if you're in corporate America, or, you know, when you work, or if you're in different spaces, I do find myself putting on masks at times. And that's probably why sometimes I'm just such a rebel with things, because I'm like, I'm tired of putting on the mask. Want to be me, but I know in certain spaces you have to show up a certain way. So welcome, Erica, and thank you for being patient. And just give us a snapshot of what brought you to this point, and talk a little bit about the masks that you've had to take off.
Absolutely, absolutely. First of all, thank you for having me on your show. I've been trying to get on for a while, but I'm here now. No.
Shout out to Pam. It was coming. It was coming. People know I do respond.
Yes,
it's just a time and a place. So I appreciate you being patient, and thank you. Shout out to Pam Perry for referring you.
She's an awesome publicist. I love her to death. But what brought me to this point was I had to go through my healing journey just like everybody else. So I'm not talking and teaching people something that I haven't lived myself, because we all have that feeling. How can you teach me something if you haven't been through anything? But for me, my journey started when I was a little girl. You see, my mom and dad, they used to argue all the time. So dad would move out, come back, move out, come back. So one day when I came home from school, he was gone. But this time he wasn't coming back. And it totally devastated me. That caused me to look for love in all the wrong places. I wanted that love that my daddy was supposed to be there, be in the house to show me, you know, how to be a woman, how, you know, from a male's perspective, take me out on my first date, show me how, you know, pull my chair out, pull my hair up when he put my jacket on, like just show me what it is. Tell me that I'm beautiful. So that when the first knucklehead tell me I was beautiful, I don't have to just be like, oh, he think I'm beautiful, he loved me. Well, I didn't have that. So I was just gravitating to anybody that would show me attention. I had a whole lot of uncles and cousins that wasn't really blood, right? And so one particular day, we had a neighbor that lived down the street from us, and he was like a friend of the family. And my mother would always say, well, you know, go over there and wash his dishes. He'll give you a couple dollars, you know, for the ice cream or whatever. And then so this particular day, she said, well, have him take you to the store. I need some stuff for dinner. I said, sure. So he took me to the grocery store, and when we were coming out of the grocery store, I remember getting in the back seat. And he said, well, why are you sitting in the back seat? I said, because I want to. So anyway, he convinced me to get in the front seat. I got in the front seat, and I remember sitting as closest to the door as I could. And he says, oh, you're sitting too far. And so he reached over, and he gently grabbed me, and he pulled me as closest to him as he could. Well, you know, back then, they didn't have any center consoles in the car. So it's one big, long front seat.
Mm-hmm.
So
the bench seating. Yep.
Yes. And so I was sitting in the front seat, and I began to brace myself, you know, like my armor to protect myself. Well, needless to say, my 13-year-old self was no match against a grown man. And he began touching me and doing inappropriate things. So when we got home, I took my mom to groceries, but I didn't say anything because my mother was a fighter. Like, I didn't want to lose my only parent by, you know, going to jail by doing something to this man. But what that taught me was to hold it in. Don't say nothing. Don't stand up for myself, but instead run. So I began a life of running. I ran from everything and everybody. I started smoking, drinking, partying, becoming promiscuous. If somebody get too close to me, I'm running. And but I'm running towards the wrong people. At age 17, I became a stripper. So then I'm still running through that. Luckily, I had a family member that was strong enough to come in and say, hey, you need to leave up out of this lifestyle. So I did. But then I met my kid's father at 17. We had our first child at 18. And we got married when I was 19 years old. We stayed married for 10 years. But that was a 10-year abusive marriage. Either he was abusing me or I was abusing myself, physically, verbally, whatever it was. But after 10 years, I had enough. But I never healed from that. I just went from relationship to relationship to relationship. And the more that I went on through life, if somebody did something to me, I'm out of there. We're not going to stand there. We're not going to talk about it. We're not going to fix it. I don't even know how to fix it because I just know how to run. Well, when I turned 35 years old, I decided to go back to college. I decided to make a change in my life. I said, I'm tired of running. I'm tired of, you know, working mediocre jobs. I'm tired of using, what's the saying say, to using what you got to get what you want, right? I'm tired of all of that. You know, I really want to be a respectable woman. I want people to respect me. I want to be in boardrooms that I didn't have no business being in. I want to create seats at the table that I know are meant for me. And so after I graduated from college, I said, now it's time to get the ball rolling. Well, I ended up hitting rock bottom. I became suicidal and I was throwing in the towel. I just could not go any further. But then all of a sudden the phone rang and it was almost like it was God saying, yeah, no, you can't throw in the towel. I got plans for you. And so when I went through my healing journey, I just discovered so many more things about myself. I discovered that my core, my stomach, the center, foundation of who I am, it was flawed from the very beginning. And what I did was I added life, kids, husband, jobs, just drinking, smoking, all of that onto a broken foundation. And one day my foundation had no choice but to give way. But what I learned and what I realized is if I had took the time to heal from the things that happened to me in the beginning, then when I began to add life and everyday things onto my foundation, then it would have been able to stand the test of time. And so as I went through this healing journey, I just realized like, wow, it was almost like a fresh, a breeze of fresh air. I was like, wow, oh, can I give this? I want to give this to other people. I want to breathe fresh air on you. Like, wow, how can I do this? And so I went through those 7 techniques that I put in my book. And I said, okay, God, now I understand what my purpose is. I had to go through the things that I went through because some of the women, baby, that I meet, that I have to help, they would not accept my help if I can't sit there and tell them a story of some things that I did. So I understand that that was my walk and my journey and my purpose, but I was able to put it in a guidebook that can help other women understand. First of all, you need help. Understand the help that you need and be real with yourself about it so that then you can take the necessary steps to move forward and begin your healing journey.
Ooh, child. Ooh. Just touch my soul, okay? Ooh, all up in my business. because you are so correct as far as like childhood trauma, and I'm glad that you came with the story because I was going to ask you, like, well, what's she talking about? What trauma she done been through? That I wanted, people want to know the details. And they say, well, I've been through a lot. Well, what have you actually been through? People want to hear, like, what have you been through? And a lot of people, I think a lot of us don't realize until we are adults how our childhood trauma has affected us. And as you said, we get into more adult situations before we even realize that we haven't healed from certain things. Like, and let's be honest, like within the last 5 to 10 years, we've become more focused on healing and trauma. We didn't talk like this before. When I was coming up, I don't know about you, Lisa, or Booker, or Kiana, we didn't really, some of these words, buzzwords that we use now and the meanings behind them, these were not in our realm, right? Our grandparents edified us and they loved on us, but they really had stuff that they went through as well. So they really didn't know or have the wheelhouse to discuss certain things with us to say, hey, I know this is traumatic for you. Let's talk about this. Let's deal with it. It wasn't, the conversation was not the way it is now. So I'm glad that it's evolved to this point.
And part of the evolution, has to do with George Floyd and all the things that have gone on, that the demography has changed the landscape of the world, that the healing is apparently hasn't happened that needs to happen. So people are having those discussions.
I'm glad we're having them because, and I'm glad that you as a woman, Erica, are reaching out to other women. And this is going to be my segue to Booker. Because
pressure.
This is part of my beef lately with people on social media. I need women talking to women and men talking to men. Like, I get what, as you said earlier, Erica, as far as a man showing a woman what he likes from a male perspective. However, that true shaping needs to come. You model after someone else who is also a woman. You model after someone else who is also a man. So this is why I appreciate women like you, Erica, the work that you're doing. And we'll come back and talk a little bit more about that. But also I appreciate what Booker is doing as a man, trying to put certain things out here, trying to put out a platform that is healing and edifying others. With your book, Journey to Love, which are 40 poems, which Booker, so right quick, Booker, where can people, this is available now, where can people go to find Journey to Love?
So right now it's available exclusively through Amazon, but you can also go to my website, which is my alias name, which is East Paul Snow, EastPawsnow.com.
I love it. And so, Booker, just give us a breakdown of who you are and what you do, because it's so many titles. I'm like, he is doing it, then like the soundtrack and all this stuff. I'm like, okay, now doing multiple things. I love it. So give us a snapshot.
So I am the co-owner of Checkmate Enterprises along with my brother, Quasheen D. Herring, who's an actor and director. I also am working with world-renowned poet Jessica Caremore, who's a very, very, very close friend.
Yeah, shout out to Jessica Caremore.
There's so many hats in my life, it's insane. I also work with my sister, Courtney Standifer, who does all the music for our movies. She does the score, literally everything. She's amazing. But yeah, we have a lot of stuff that we're working on right now, and it does seem like a lot of hats, but to me, it's just all in content creation, and trying to give different looks and perspectives at different subjects and topics that people can have conversations after they hear everything, or after they see a movie, after they hear a soundtrack. All of my songs aren't really made for people to agree with me on. I'm okay with people disagreeing with something that I say, or something that I put in the movie. Like literally a lot of the things that I do is to create dialogue amongst each other, for people to actually be involved in it and actually have conversations that might be very, very uncomfortable to have.
Yeah. I think we're on that same wavelength, Booker. Because I do the same thing a lot of times when I post stuff. I'm like, yeah, let's stir it up a little bit here, and not to just be. It's not my intent. Is not malicious, but like you said, to stimulate people. I really want to stimulate conversation that's just below the surface a lot of times, because we do a lot of surface talk. And
I would say exactly what I watched you do on the Rolling Out show. Like what I see you do on there, I think you guys have an amazing dynamic with each other. You all bring something extremely different to the table, and you kind of come out of nowhere with like this punch of reality. And
I'll be like, wait a minute.
Creates a different dialogue sometimes, and I think it's great. It's a part of what allows you guys to have that great fluidity throughout conversations.
I love it. Thank you. And again, I appreciate you. Shout out to Portia, Krista, and Latrice. But absolutely. But going back to what you said, Erica, I've done that at times. Ran away from relationships when I no longer want to put energy into it, because it's like you get that, and I think as we get older, we kind of get this thing where we just like avoid certain things. It's like, I just want some peace in my life. I don't want to be bothered with all of this. But sometimes you do have to have those hard conversations. And Booker, I appreciate you for forging the conversation about love. I was listening to you and Jessica on WDET yesterday. Just so many things, just negative coming from 2020, and we wanted to uplift people and give them a positive outlook. So talk about what was the inspiration? Because obviously you're a man of a mature age out here. So I mean not even just the beard, but just the way you talk, the way you present yourself. You can tell that you just are not like out here willy-nilly with it. You've had there's obviously some life experience in between these pages. When I was reading,
I'll be totally honest. The thing is, I'm just well-groomed. My village is gorgeous. Between the men that I've been raised by in the community, I'm fortunate. Like, I'm listening to everybody talk. I still have, a nice amount of my grandparents and uncles and aunts. Both my parents are, like I have a huge village that's very active in my life. So if I'm out of line with something, they're real quick to pull me back in, and age and time is a factor.
Won't they though? Welcome, Chrissy. Welcome to the show. So, okay, Robin, let's go into that trailer. I wanted to play one of your book trailers, Booker, with you and the young lady. That was quite sensual, by the way. I love it.
I can't stop smiling. How about you? I can't stop thinking that every love song is somehow about you. This one's for you. Like, you're the one that inspired every lyric, every procession, every drum. The long-standing effect of horns and keys, the aftermath of vocals that could make a tear run. Your voice, it's like a lullaby that I have to hear to rest. You are that sound that reminds me, young man, you're blessed. Words of inspiration, stories of war, pain, and triumph intrigue me. Your philosophies and morality, you are a beautiful human being. Ooh, you have me constantly walking to a rhythm that keeps life on beat. I could only hope I give that feeling back. If it's anything like your track, mine sounds sweet. Tell me whatever crosses your mind and heart, because it's a beautiful tune. We can't stop. Can't stop. We can't stop.
I mean,
Nice.
okay. All right. Hubby might get lucky tonight. Okay.
That was beautiful. It was very
Okay.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Booker. So, is that your boo? Is that your boo in the video?
No,
Because you and her got some chemistry. The way you was looking at her was something serious. That glance, when you was like looking down over her shoulder, I'm like, that was pretty intense.
So it's two things. Number one, I went to acting school, and the other thing is too is like Tam is she's a very 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 close friend of mine. Like she's almost like a little sister. So we had a comfort level that allowed us to function a certain way. That's
Okay. Okay, Tam.
like
Shout out to
she
Tam.
like to me she like literally like my little sister's age at like 24, 20. You know, and at 41, my kids are closer to that than I am. So
All right. Ooh, okay. Yeah, I definitely felt the chemistry there. I love it. So that is poem number 7, out of 40. And so I love just the content, how it's just the prose, how it just flows, how it's just like vulnerable. Like, women eat it up when men are vulnerable. So Booker, I know the women are like, they own you. I know they in your inbox. They gotta be.
no.
Single? Wait, let's first get that out the way. Are you single? Let's get that out the way for the ladies.
I am.
I'm married, but for the single ladies.
I am.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's by choice.
Oh, okay. So are you not mingling, or you willing to mingle?
So the thing is, I've been married or in relationships for the last 17 years of my life.
Okay.
So I'm and then my 2 girls, my 2 younger daughters are 14 and 16. So my primary focus really is on them. And then between my 2 dads and my mom, I really focus on them and just being great in my art and my craft. But it doesn't mean that I still don't reach out, for a certain type of love. But I'm not in the streets like that either though. So I'm
okay.
Yeah.
All right, ladies. So Booker is not for the streets.
Nah.
Okay. I love it. Okay, Booker. I can get with that because I like the one in here. I'm not sure where it was, where you said, I'm just reaching out to say hi, how you doing? You were just pretty much saying no obligation. I'm just saying, hey, not trying to stress you out. And I like that because, sometimes, some fellas can be bugaboos. It's like women feel like they have to give them something.
Yeah.
They have to feel obligated to return some type of,
So I think it's always good. I think it's always good to let your interests be known, but I don't believe in taking away people's choices.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to over-involve yourself in something so much to where somebody has to give you something or else you're going to do something. Like you can't take away people's choice. Now if you don't want to deal with it, as the other party, then, you can shut things off. But if you're the aggressor or the person, trying to, holler, spit game, whatever you're doing, you can't take away people's choice by telling them, like, if I was to send somebody flowers and go, well, if you don't call me or text me and say thank you, then I'll never do this again or that again. Come on, you can't. I don't believe in putting that kind of pressure on people. That's not love.
Right.
That's ownership at that point.
So what has brought you to this point, Booker, through your relationships, obviously, but what are some things, and I want to ask first, what is your favorite out of the 40? Do you have a favorite? Do you have that one that resonated with you or that had you like?
So the one is the first one.
Okay.
So those are actually 40 letters out of 60 that I wrote to a young lady.
Oh.
Those are the actual letters. And the first one is the actual first one I sent her to get her attention.
Okay. So right quick, y'all, I need to read a little bit of this. So y'all get ready. Okay. So wait a minute, did you send all 60 letters? Oh, did she respond?
No, we talked after the first one.
So did y'all get back together?
So I tried to holler at her in high school and stuff just didn't work out. And 20 years later, I was divorced for a little while. I asked myself, what did I want? And I wanted to see, I wanted to give it a shot at least, and say hi and see what would happen. And, she honestly is like all of those letters were to her. Beautiful person, like she's amazing. It's just, we're so different in our walks, But like
Hey.
she the one who she pushed me to even release this. Like, you
Cause
know.
bruh, come on now. You right, Mr. Chica. Come on now. Chica, dang, that's too bad. I mean, I just love this. Again, just, you know, storytelling and words, you know, when you can get into someone's head and the mind emotionally, that's a connection. So I'm gonna pray y'all get reconnected, or maybe someone else will read it and be inspired. But I'm gonna just read a little bit of number one, y'all, so y'all can see the level of dedication that he had to this young lady. So it says, if I never have another night to live, if I never have another breath to give, if I never get to see another day, I can't allow this moment to get away. I've made a lot of tough decisions, good intentions guided all my years, most of which all left me broken. I closed my eyes to hold in tears. As I walk the remainder of my journey, I know it's best that you're told, I know it's best that you're told, I've always wanted to know you, to love you, to see where it all goes. I might be late in my admission, but I hope my submission is clear. I'm sorry it took me so long to get past my hurt, my thoughts, my fear. Please excuse my selfishness. I apologize for my words of disruption. I know this may be a bit to take in, but I beg you, pardon my interruption. So I'll leave it there because y'all gonna get the rest of the book when y'all buy it. But I love the transparency, Booker. So, I mean, talk a little bit about what the process was, and then we're gonna move on to Christina. But talk about a little bit about the process when you wrote these letters. Like, you were obviously pouring out your heart to her. What was the span of time that this was written over?
40 days.
Oh, so each day?
Yeah, I wrote her. So I wrote 60, and I wrote her one each day for 60 days, and I took 40 and put them in the book.
Wow.
So this was just from loving her from afar?
Yeah, we weren't even in the same state.
Y'all never even like got together, went on a date, had a kiss?
This was, I mean, we like about I would say it wasn't too much time before we, you know, met up and everything, but no, it's just we talked almost every day.
Wow.
If not every day for months.
That's a real cerebral connection right there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like, for me, love isn't always a success story. It's just not. I've learned more from love, from failure, than I have in success, unfortunately, in some ways. But at the same time, it's helped me get to where I am, to where I gotta say, I'm way better of a father and a person in general. Way better. I'm way more of a gentleman. You just learn to care a little bit more, you know. You don't go into relationships blindly or loosely. You're very delicate with people, and, you know, maneuvering in how you treat folks, and just in how you carry yourself, because somebody's always paying attention. So I just try to maneuver accordingly. And as far as with the writings, it was just really, it's about, you have to create something with a person that allows you to dedicate yourselves to them. And it has to be consistent. It has to be steady, you know. And again, in that process, you don't want to close all doors to where you don't give that other person choice, or you remove your own choice, but you want to have it to where you guys can at least just see where it goes and see what happens. And if, you know, one of you guys aren't functioning a certain way in there, at least you left room for the honesty to be there.
Can you, so are you gonna be mentoring some of your young brothers, please? Could you mentor them, please?
So,
I need you to mentor the young dudes, please.
I do mentor already. So, please. And that's something I've been doing for years, but I am really thinking about starting maybe a podcast or something to generate some kind of dialogue. And like I said, everybody doesn't have to agree with me, but at least the dialogue gets started to where the conversations can be had. Like, for instance, there, you know, Miss Erica, if you don't mind, you know, there's some things she said that some people might take a certain way and go, "Oh no, girl, you should have." But to me, as a dad who was raised by, you know, primarily my mother, I got pissed off when she was telling me, you know, I'm about to go hug my kids in a minute. You know what I mean? So it's like you just have, it's all perspective. all of it, but at least the dialogue is created. You know, all the ladies in here, you guys are creating a dialogue that, you know, even if it doesn't hit a nerve immediately, eventually, if they really took everything in, eventually, you know, something soaks in. And I think that's what I'm trying to do with each writing. It's like when I write, I try to hit a nerve.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And this is something that I do agree with. We don't always have to agree. It's not always going to be a perfect resolution. And I want to go back to what you said about success and failure. Like what I've learned, that failure is a part of success. Like, you know, you're going to fail in order to later achieve that success. And I'm glad that you're fostering and using your platform to foster certain conversations, Booker. And this is part of why I love Black men, because I know you all represent us. I know you can do that. And so I love when more men like you are out here putting things out here. So I really appreciate that. And so we're gonna move on to Chrissy. Welcome, Chrissy, husband of K1 Services.
Yes. Thank you for having me on the show.
I love it. So just right quick, Chrissy, give us a snapshot of what K1 Services is. And then once she's done, Robin, we're going to pull up that Coming to America trailer.
Yeah, so K1 Services is an event services company. We function under 3 different umbrellas: promotions, mixology, and we host our own events through and through. So a lot of our events are definitely heavy based on food and drink and great music. And, you know, we just bring an experience to people, and, you know, everyone has a good time. So, you know, I've been in the event business for about 5 years now, and this is my my second business. I was based in DC for a little while. So I'm a little new to Detroit, but, you know.
So did you just move here?
I didn't just move here. I've been here for about 2 years now.
Okay. From DC?
Yes, from DC. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Well, welcome to the D. Are you from Detroit? Are you from?
No, I'm not from Detroit. My husband's from Detroit.
Okay.
So all of his family is here, and we just had a daughter. So, you know, it takes a village to raise a child. So, you know, it just made sense to come and be around the cousins, aunties, and yeah. So, you know, we've been here. Yeah. So,
welcome. How old is your daughter?
Thank you. She's 1 and 4 months now.
Ooh, get ready. You need your rest. You're gonna need your rest.
I'm already losing sleep. I'm already. I don't even know what sleep is like.
Just a clue: you'll never sleep the same again, Christina. Just give it up. My daughter is 17 and my son is 10. I do not sleep the same. Even when I go out of town, I don't sleep the same. It's nuts.
There's no hope. Okay, I thought I would. Yeah, I thought I would pass
but,
it.
Hey, that's the thing. Your events feature food and drinks, because that's always something that's a great thing. So, let's go into that Coming to America clip of as you all know or might know, the sequel to Coming to America is finally here after about 30 years. So, or is it 20 years? I think it's about 30 years. But let's go ahead and play the trailer to Coming to America, which is coming, the sequel, which is coming out March 5th.
That face that is usually covered by her phone has finally made an appearance. That face wouldn't be doing that if you were.
Hey! What you doing back here? Mufasa! Say it again, I feel right in his name. Just discovered that I may have a son here in this land. How much child support she getting from? The king pays no child support. No child support for 30 years and you came back? You was a dummy! Hello, I am Hakim Joffer, King of Zamunda. You are the heir to the throne. Yes, my son. He's supposed to be like the prince of Wakanda. Wakanda is a fictional place. Not to everybody. Zamunda is a very real nation. I don't need no handout. Wait a minute. All right, I'm gonna pack. Okay, baby.
Presenting King Akim's son from America.
And my mom's.
And his mom's.
Children, this is your brother.
Hey, Quine.
I'm sorry I slept with your man.
This happened before we even met.
It's not like you're the first man I've ever been with.
What did you just say about the other men?
Coming to America, now it's coming to me.
I always thought that Mika was going to be queen.
A woman isn't allowed to rule Zamunda. It's the law.
Did it ever occur to you that Mika wanted to be your heir?
Would you dare banish me from my own bedroom?
How you doing, Hakeem?
I'm getting it from everywhere. I have upset my family.
You must be strong.
And General Izzy would love nothing more than to take over Zamunda.
Raise it higher.
I'm a king,
Put your hands together.
Like that.
Say it again.
Give me all. It's fine over here.
I must admit, your style is foreign to my kingdom, but is impressive.
That's right. There you go. Let me hear you say, hey, ho.
Hey, ho!
No, don't do that. That's his mother.
Oh, don't you say that.
No, not to his mother.
Almost ready to become a prince.
Almost. It is time.
Ceremonial circumcision.
Bring forward the royal machete.
Machete?
They're gonna sharpen you too, nephew.
Coming to America, now it's coming to me. I'm a king, I'm a king, I'm a king.
I love it. So I'm glad they finally did a sequel to that. And so Chrissy and her company, K1 Services, they are hosting a Coming to America pop-up event. If we can bring up the flyer right quick, Robin, that's going to be March 3rd through the 6th.
So March 4th through the 7th.
March 4th through the Okay.
March 4th through the 7th. So
Okay.
each day has a little bit of something different for everyone. So it's 4 days of events. March 4th, we're doing our Miss Black Awareness swimsuit pageant, which I am super excited about. We just booked a world-renowned DJ. Her name is Farrah Flossett. She's amazing. I used to go to her shows back in DC and everything. It's always sold out. So she's now on our event. We're hosted by T Barb, the local comedian. We have local mixologist, K Muhammad, doing our whole drink menu. We have the catering company, Salt & Co., doing all the food. So, I'm really excited about Thursday. I feel like it's going to be my favorite day. In essence, you guys remember the scene where Eddie Murphy meets Lisa and, there's the Miss Black Awareness pageant. That's essentially what we're recreating. So we're doing a swimsuit. Yeah. I'm gonna see if T Bar might want to dress up in a suit and might get her little wig or something like that. We'll see if we can work that in there. But essentially, what we're doing is a swimsuit contest. So we'll have 20 different contestants. There's cash prizes, gift cards. We're really, really excited. So next day, March 5th, is when we're actually premiering the Coming to America 2 movie. We're transforming this space into a movie theater style where we have love seats and sofas and ottomans. We have a projector and a large screen. We have food and drink and, just the whole experience. It's going to be so amazing. It's like every day just has so many different things. On Saturday and Sunday, we're doing museum days, if you want to call them. It's 1.5 hour block where you get a chance to hang out in the space. You get a chance to eat the food, you get to drink. You get to take pictures, you get to hang out, be like a Coming to America museum. And we're doing those time blocks between 12 and 9:30 on Saturday and Sunday. So and those days are definitely family friendly. Bring your kids, bring your whole family. It's going to be such an experience. From my understanding, this is the first movie pop-up bar for Detroit. So I'm, really, really excited to be someone to, bring that to Detroit, and hopefully this will be something where we can start doing more of these in the future. I'm sure there's a couple more movies coming out this year that we might be able to recreate something. So I'm excited.
So family days are Saturday and Sunday, no swimsuit contest for the children.
Yeah, 21 plus. Yeah, 21
So
plus
okay.
on Thursday. March 4th is definitely 21 plus.
Right.
Some swimsuits and Yeah,
Mhm.
Friday is not necessarily 21 plus. You just can't drink. So yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some I already know in the top of people's minds at in this present day? Like, what are some of the measures you all are taking regarding COVID?
Oh, so for Saturday and Sunday specifically, each hour and a half block has a 30-minute gap between each one. And so we bought a sanitizer backpack, you know, one of like the little bug sprayer, you know, if you call it. And then we bought some industrial strength sanitizer. And so in that half an hour block, we're pretty much going to go through and sanitize the space and run through. And so that'll happen each day after every time someone's in the building, rinse and repeat. Everybody has to wear their masks. We're doing temperature checks, hand sanitizer at the front door. You know, we're not playing games with that at
Right.
all.
Okay. So everybody has to wear masks, your temperature check at the door.
Mhm.
Okay. And then of course there are only a certain amount of tickets available, correct?
Yes.
Because like
Yes.
capacity limits too.
Yes. So the room, the place itself is a large, you could call it a theater. It's a theater warehouse that does set design. So the capacity is about 450 people, and each day we're not selling more than 100 tickets for any event.
Okay.
So each day has a different quota, but there's so much space for people to be socially distant for sure.
Good. I love it. Absolutely. I love it. So again, where can people go again to get their tickets?
So Coming to America pop-up.myshopify.com.
Okay. Is that coming like the number 2 or TO?
TO.
Okay.
Yeah. Coming to
Because I noticed
America
the movie
pop-up.
is doing a number 2 to signify that is, oh, yep. Thanks. I was looking to see if it's on there. Is it on the, yep. Scroll down a little bit if you can, Robin. And that's at the Grand Venue on Grand River in Detroit.
Yep, on Grand River in Livernois. You can also find the ticket link on our Facebook, Coming to America Pop-Up on Facebook. Just type that in. You can find us on Instagram, the letter C, the number 2, and the letter A, Pop-Up on Instagram, C2A Pop-Up. And the ticket link is there. You can also go to my business page, K1 Services, the letter K, the number 1, and Services on Instagram. The ticket link is there as well. You know, it's all over the place at this rate. You know, we're definitely pushing this event as much as we can. We're all really excited. It's about a team of 5 of us. I have, you know, a handful of people that we're working with. We have a media day coordinator. I have an assistant I'm working with. I have a bar manager, and then I have a food manager. And what's lovely about it is each one of them, they have their own assistant. So it's like this massive team, you know, so, you know, stuff has been getting done. I'm like, I can do this. I love my job.
Right.
Right.
You need a team. You obviously need a team. So what made you get into event planning, event services?
So that's kind of a loaded question. So I had
Booker
a sales background.
You, I come with them. Booker
I love this. I love this. I started doing event sales once upon a time. I did catering sales for Bar Louie, and I did wedding sales for a wedding venue. And so I ended up leaving that job, and I went back to bartending because I wanted to go back to school to finish my degree, X, Y, and Z. And I was working at this nightclub in DC that was really popular. And then I started getting friends, and you know how that goes. And then I started guest bartending at other nightclubs. And so my first guest bartending shift, I brought out 90 people, and that was more people than the actual promotion team that was paid to promote. Ooh. So the owner of the bar was like, Chrissy, you need to start a brand, you need to get into this, you need to do this, like this is how you do it. And then he pretty much took me under his wing and introduced me to his circle. It was about 10 of us, and everybody just showed me the ropes, gave me love, like taught me everything that I knew. And, you know, it's just been written in stone since there. So, you know, we hosted in DC, we hosted so many different events and staffed, and, you know, there was a whole different motion. And so here in Detroit, COVID is definitely not have been my friend. It's definitely ruined everything for sure. But I've hosted about maybe 4 events or so, I think, in Detroit since I've been here. So, you know, it's definitely growing.
I love it. Well, definitely, you know, look, you know, just keep me in mind. You know, my platform is always open if you'd like to come back again and connect. And as you all know, I love to connect people with others. I love sharing information. Like, it kind of gives me a high to connect people with others. Like, oh, this is what you need to do. So speaking of that, I want to ask each of you, how have you been coping through COVID? Like, this has been definitely, in my opinion, the great equalizer, I call it, because it has affected around the world. It's affected like every facet of our lives. And that's why I say it's the equalizer, because whether you're white, Black, rich, poor, educated or not educated, and we know, of course, the disparities and how it's affecting African Americans, but just it's affected everyone and everything. So I'm gonna start with you, Lisa. How have you been coping through it? And even though you're still doing and then we'll go into talking about the Career Master Summit that you had to postpone because that was supposed to be September of last year, right?
March
of 2020, right? So that was right
at the beginning. I had to cancel it at Hilton. We were going to Hilton Head.
Yep, and I was planning to make it there too. I was gonna make it there. And then it just like I remember March 13th, because I was also planning to go to Miami for my birthday.
Yep.
And it just everything shut down. So talk about that, Lisa, how you had to pivot.
Oh my goodness.
Bring the event online and just
You have no idea. So for a whole year before 2020, we had planned for an event. It was going to be my 6th annual Women's History Leadership Awards and a retreat-like event. We had planned Hilton Head. We had all the tickets sold. We were a week away from going. Everything was packed, ready to go. All the gifts, all the speakers, a hotel was booked. People's flights were in place. Speakers from all over the nation. And Rocki was definitely, I told you should be there. We had 3 days planned on the beach. I'm telling you. And
I was planning my little girls trip. That was going to be my little girls trip.
Hey, I had all my outfits. I mean, I was just ready, everything. And 3 days before we were ready to go, this thing called COVID started happening. And all my corporate sponsors started calling me to tell me that they were still with me, but they couldn't send their people. And it's just so many things started happening. And I just made a decision. I prayed about it. I said, God, let me know what to do. I've never been in this space before. I have all these liabilities and assets and things that we pay. You got to know when you do a 3-day conference at a major hotel like, Hilton Head Island for golfing and all of that, it's a lot of dollars and a lot of assets involved. So I made a decision to cancel it and had to call everybody, give people their money back. It was just a big deal. However, I felt like I made the right decision for people's safety and health because I didn't want any liabilities for people going to the hotel, getting sick on my dime. It just made sense. So we canceled it. And 6 months later, I said, well, I have to pivot. And in September, we had the event, a 3-day online virtual event, and it was awesome. I mean, it happened that we were going to be at Hilton Head with, 300 to 400 women. And then now we're virtually around the globe. So there's always a rainbow in everything that happens. And so we were just so excited because now you're expanding your brand, you're expanding your footprint. And it took us 6 months to know how to put this together because it's essentially a television production. And we had to put all those speakers together inside of Zoom. And it was just a lot of work. So fast forward, we're going into our 7th year for the second pivot of a virtual event. And it's going to be,
Robin, if you could bring up the flyer, please.
March the 23rd. This is what we call our Women's History Month Leadership Awards under my brand, which is my Career Master magazine. So we're hosting the Capacity, Women Shattering Their Limits Now, which is the name of my new book. I thought the theme of this summit should be exactly what I've written about and what the speakers will be talking about. So we will have over 30 plus speakers from all over the United States, women that are thought leaders, firebrands, executives, as well as entrepreneurs speaking on 9 different panels on iconic presence and power. And those women will certainly have an opportunity to share their views about what's happening inside of women losing their jobs during COVID versus those that are expanding in not only the entrepreneur footprint, but the corporate footprint. And so I'm excited. I have some surprises like Keisha Lance Bottoms from Atlanta. I have some great women that are going to You know how this works, right? And so the bottom line is we have some great women that we're honoring. So each year we honor over 30 women from around the nation. They're nominated, they're selected, and they receive the Women's History Leadership Awards. Living legend was last year was Janet Bryant Howard, and she's also going to be speaking again this year. And at the end of the day, the whole idea goes back to you, I think, Kiana. I started this brand and this concept because my mother passed in 2015. And at the grieving and as well as thinking about how she left a footprint for me and knowing that I was able to reach my capacity because she never gave up on us in Mississippi, I felt like it was necessary to give back. And so what we do is the proceeds from this event, and by the way, it's March the 23rd, goes to an Excel Village nonprofit that we established. And in 2015, we established this in her name. And we've given over $30,000 in scholarships to young girls from around the nation, particularly in Charlotte and Detroit and New York. And so that's what this is about, helping girls see that other women lead and they can see that example of what women look like when they're successful. And so we bring women and girls together every year. And when we get back to being able to have real time, we'll be back at Hilton Head. But for now, we are online. So we have this event coming on March the 23rd. There's a wait list right now for tickets. So if you go to careermastered.com, you can sign up to get on the wait list. And we're going to let everybody know when those tickets are available. It's usually a lot of people there. So I want you to think about at least joining us to get some idea of what we're doing with Career Mastered. And I'll share this quickly. Career Mastered is the brand for our magazine. I publish a quarterly print and digital magazine, of which Rocki is one of our major contributors, and because she can write. And it's content and curated around women's stories. And we have some great sponsors like Walgreens and Fifth Third Bank and Mercedes, as well as Lowe's, New York Life. They're all there with us. And I want you to know that this is part of the dream of using our capacity to help other women and girls.
I love it. I love it. And I love Career Master because I love just the women that I've connected with. I think me and Kim Roxy were on the phone for like almost 2 hours.
I was going to say that was such a good connection. So Rob, I said, hey, we got to talk about somebody who has a product for lipstick, and we found Kim Roxy and Rob, and you had a chance to just talk to her. I'm just so excited for that story.
Yes, I loved it. I loved it. We were on the phone for almost 2 hours. It was crazy. Imagine trying to transcribe that later.
That's okay. That's all right.
Because it's just like you can only get so much in 15 minutes. So, and you know me, I like to go in depth, and she was just so inspiring. So Kim Roxy is the founder of Lamique Beauty, which is vegan, cruelty-free makeup for women of color, by the way. And I also got to speak with Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib.
Yes.
So that was an absolute honor as well, because she is a warrior out here doing it for us for the District 13 of Detroit. She's one of the people who were taking Trump to task, and you know that she's actually fighting for her constituents. So
I let them know, let you know that you can pick up the magazine at careermaster.com, both digitally and print. But Rashida was one of our honorees, and so this particular magazine is on savvy women in politics, focusing on our new Madam Vice President Kamala Harris.
Yes, I love that. So when is the spring issue dropping, Lisa?
It's going to be just before the event, so around March the 15th, so that it'll be ready exactly maybe a week before the event starts.
I love it. I'm excited. I always get excited when I get my mind in the mail. I'm so excited because, as Lisa said, we envision Career Master to someday be like Essence, which is it's already getting there. It's already getting there. But just from the value of the content that is in there, so many women making moves, and men as well. So Booker, we might be able to feature Booker when we feature some men sometimes too.
Well,
Booker.
we do. But also I'd like to say that it's good for his daughters to read it. I mean, the stories in there will be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. So let me come back to come to you, Erica. How have you been getting through COVID? Right, it's time to talk about that. I mean, it's been a blessing and a curse for all of us, especially as creatives. It has stimulated us in a way. It has created a space where we can slow down. Creatives, you know, our brains are always like, like my brain is just constantly going. And for me, the pandemic really taught me to slow down, and that it's okay if this doesn't get done today.
Yeah.
It's okay to say no.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
If I'm not feeling okay today, that's okay too. And to be grateful for what we have, because literally, like, a friend of mine died on my birthday last year.
Oh my goodness.
On my birthday. And it was just so much death, and just not just death of people, but just death of jobs, death of homes, your death of your livelihood, your socialization, just that warmth that you get from contact, and just in a way, kind of death of humanity in some instances where people just didn't want to wear their masks, or people were just insensitive to each other. So we really learned a lot about ourselves last year. And then, like, 2021, we're still going through this. So Erica, how have you gotten through?
Well, first of all, I didn't even know COVID was a thing because I don't watch TV, right? I have all these TVs in my house, but I don't turn them on. The most news I get is from YouTube, you know, and then somebody has to tell me to turn on the news before I turn on news. So I'm listening to my mom and my sister. They're calling me like, you better go get your tissue. You better go. I'm like, what are they talking about? So I'm steady, you know, working and doing my thing. And then one day I'm at work and I said, let me see what my mother and them talking about. So I hit play on some video that was playing about Wuhan and what was going on. And it was like a 30-minute video. And about 25 minutes in, I pushed play and I raised my head up and looked around at my coworkers like everybody was zombies or something. And I was just like, what is happening? And so I just totally like freaked out. Then I instantly started a group text between my sisters and my mom and my niece. And I'm like, this is going on. And so about a couple days later, my sister said, are you serious? I was like, yeah. He was like, where have you been? We have been telling you this the whole time. I was like, I just didn't know. They did not believe that I didn't know, because I don't have a problem with, you know, turning the outside world off so that I can focus and get done what I have to get done. So needless to say, somebody, you know, kind of straightened me out. It was like, come on. It's almost like they shook me like, you know,
you were late to the party, huh? You late to the party, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
but once you awoke, you got plenty of time to get used to being awake.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mm-hmm. So I took that time to focus and create programs, spend some time with my kids, well, they're adults now, but, you know, spend some time with them and just really focus and work on work on me, and then understand. And really, I had to pivot because my clients would come into my home office and I would help them that way. And I'm like, well, okay, what do I got to do? So I had to go through like a whole rebranding process, learn and upgrade my systems. I spent so much money in 2020, but I'm blessed that I was able to do that, because in 2021, as we speak, in my emails is ding, ding, new subscribers, free consultations. I was like, okay. But out of the midst of all of that, I really, really, truly had an opportunity to learn so much about other individuals and what they go through. You know, certain things that you may miss, like somebody was saying earlier, oh no, it was on one of your other shows that I was watching, where they were saying that sometimes you learn from your clients. You listen and hear and understand what your clients really, what their needs are and what they want. And then you can provide that not only for them, but for others as well. And so that's how I was able to come up with the One Step Beyond You Academy, because after you heal, like Lisa was saying, the core foundation of everything that we do is healing. A lot of people need healing, whether you a CEO to the sister next door. Somebody went through something, And until you fix it, then you're going to keep going through something. And so once that core foundation was fixed and we adjusted to their healing process, then what's next? What's your next level? And so then the One Step Beyond You Academy was then created, because I help clients do so many other things like start business, do websites, it's all kind of stuff. But it's like, this is the healing lady. But how do you can't brand yourself as 50 things. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so
pick one, please. Just pick 2 or 3.
Right.
I get so when people say they're a serial entrepreneur, you have like 8 businesses. I'm like, okay, but what is your specialty?
Absolutely.
I get, spreading ourselves out there, but we want to make sure we're not spreading ourselves too thin.
Absolutely. So that's when I learned that even when you are helping clients go to the next level with their business, these skills, these fundamentals, the foundation that I teach you, these life skills you're going to be able to use not only in your business, but always use them in your personal life, because a lot of things that we do is centered around our mindset. And so when you got that mindset right, you can accomplish just about anything that you set your mind to, and be like, Dr. Lisa, I'm not accepting no. What you tell me no? Oh, I'm about to show you what yes means. Or this is how I'm going to get it.
No, it's temporary.
Yes, absolutely.
My husband hates when I say that. I'm like, oh, okay. He's like, you are so spoiled. I'm like, okay, you saying that now, but I'm gonna find someone who's gonna say yes. So I want to ask, so the One Step Leadership Academy, is that connected to the book, the guide that you have on your website?
Yes.
One Step Beyond.
Everything is all connected together. So if they go to ericalynnspeaks.com and get the free download, which is the 3 steps to be the best you, then that, of course, enters you into the funnel, and then you can learn about the other programs that we have. But because we're COVID, right, and we at home, I personally have been calling clients and speaking directly with them to just really guide them in the right direction. Because sometimes when you go somewhere, you not really sure if this is something for you. And I really like to vet out people, like if my program is a good fit for you, but then I really need to know if I'm a good fit for you. So we're going to vet each other out. I'm not just a person that's just going to like sell you anything just because I'm like, oh, I need to sell. I need to know that it's going to help you, because if you don't do the work that's required, then it's just a one-sided relationship. Then you get to the end of the program and you're like, well, Erica Lynn offered me something, it didn't help. Well, Erica Lynn gave you 4 steps. You did A and C. You forgot about the stuff in the middle. And so when you did get the results that you desired, it's because you didn't do your part. And so I like to really, really show people that it's a working relationship. Like everything we do, we have to work together. So I give you some work and you go and do it. I teach you something, you go and do the work. But if I'm just teaching you something, you're not doing the work, then you're not going to get the results.
I love that.
So,
I love that. I love that, Erica, because I'm sorry, you said what?
No, go ahead.
No, because what you said, that's something that whenever someone emails me and they say, I want a press release, I want a bio, I want whatever service they're contacting me, I always say, I look forward to working with you, because this is going to be a collaborative effort. Like, I need stuff from you so we can make this happen together. And then sometimes you have to be able to discern, because all money ain't good money. Like, all clients are not for you. And I've had to turn down some clients and say, hey, I can't meet what you need, or I'm not able to provide that. So, we need to make sure we discern that. So that's the good, I appreciate that you say that, because a lot of times people feel like, oh yeah, I can do this and this and this for you, but we might not be the right fit for each other. Just like with therapy, sometimes you might not have the right therapist. It might not be a good fit. So I'm glad of that. So you all make sure you all go to Erica Lynn Speaks for that, for her books and her Leadership Academy. I'll probably need to sign it myself. Talking to myself.
Yes,
talking to myself.
What I love about the One Step Beyond You Academy, as we rolling out the One Step Beyond You Academy, until we get to the first 100 people in the academy, because the One Step Beyond You signature program, that's running fine. But until we get 100 people in the One Step Beyond You Academy, then they're working directly with me. They get more access to me. But then, when the bigger the program gets, then, it kind of gets a little digital, but they get to work directly with me. And so all they have to do is go to the website and get the free download or sign up for a free consultation, and we'll get them all set up. And I really do like the point that you made, is that people, they don't know what they need, right? So in the 7 techniques of healing, in the second technique, I begin to educate them on what they need, right? And so I ask very detailed questions in the book. And so I always tell people, if you lie to the answers in the book, you're not lying to me because I'm not there with you. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to you. You're not telling your truth. You're not going to get to the place where you want to go. And so that is when we begin to identify, like, if you need me, a coach, if you need a licensed therapist, if you need medication, if you need 5 coaches, whatever you need. But that's the point where you begin to identify it. But how you gonna know what you need if you haven't did the work to even identify what you need? Yeah, and so like you said, all money ain't good money, so I can't take on all clients. If you need medication, yeah, I'm going.
Right, everyone has their lane, exactly, and you have, but I think that's the integrity of being an entrepreneur,
right,
and a service provider. You have to know. So Booker, how about you? And then I want to come to Kiana and Christina last on how you all got through COVID. So Booker, you were obviously writing letters. But what else were you doing during COVID? I mean, besides directing and your movies and.
Well, I mean, I kind of drowned myself in creating content. Right now, we have a movie out named Whoa, that's available on Vimeo. So between doing that and doing the soundtrack with my sister, that was a workload there. Then right behind that, we shot a scene, and then we did a feature-length film that I wrote. So we shot that, and then we're going into production for another movie in April. So we're doing that. Then also I have another one. Oh, I get to do an exclusive drop too. Hold on.
Look at y'all. Oh, look at y'all. Look at God. Y'all coming with the exclusive juice. Love it. Come on now.
So on the 1st of we'll do March. So on the 1st, we're gonna release the 3rd video for the poetry book as well. And that does star Jessica Caremore. So that should be interesting.
Yes, come through. I love it. I love it. Exclusive. I love it.
Then
and that's going to be on East Paul. People follow you at eastpaulsnow.com, right?
Yep. And then I also directed a video for I worked with her and then her nephew Donovan Glover. Amazing. So those have been the things that have been really keeping me busy. And just my commitment to just making sure my girls are straight. You know, I'm very involved with my daughters. I love the relationship I have with their mom, you know, for us to be able to communicate effectively to make sure that they have a solid foundation. Their uncles and aunts are super involved in their lives. Like, you know, they have a beautiful village the same way I have one, and I'm grateful to be able to pass that along. It might have been just because I don't know, I graduated from U of M.
You had to get that in, Snow. Snow, you had to get that in, didn't you?
I'm sorry, Ms. Lisa.
Yeah, let her know she went outnumbered. It's okay.
Come on, Wolverine. Come on. Represent.
But one of the gentlemen in my lives is my cousin Teron Williams. That's familiar with you as well, Rocki.
Oh, we went to cast together.
Yeah, that's my older cousin. He
always a good guy.
Yeah, beautiful man, beautiful dude. So I've been blessed to have people like that in my life, you know. Just and I'm also working on volume 2 of Journey to Love. So yeah, working on volume 2. I don't have a release date, but I am working on it, and it's going to be beautiful. That's the most thing I can say. And I'm not saying.
So is that the continuation? Is it going to be like the rest of the letters plus some, or because you said it was 60?
Not quite.
Okay.
Not quite. It's still going to be conversation pieces though, to where they like nothing that I write is done just out of nowhere. Every movie, every poem, anything that I do is come from somewhere. It's to somebody.
Yeah.
I'll never announce who because I'm not into embarrassing. I don't do embarrassment, you know, just to get a leg up on somebody. I don't do that. So but everything is to, for, or said about someone. Like nothing is fictional. All of it is actual facts. So
I love it. Ooh, well, I can't wait to
COVID.
Can I say something? So Booker, I did a spoken words album during COVID. I forgot about that. And when you talk, there's like a piece I did called Motivation into Your Purpose. It's 8 minutes long. And I've been wanting somebody to bring that piece to life with a vision. And so right now I just got the album cover over, but the piece is beautiful. When you finish, you like, I could do anything. I could accomplish all my goals. And my son is the producer, so he did the beat. So I didn't come with no corny beats. It's like something that you would really like. But perhaps we can, connect sometime after the show, because I really would like that piece to come to life so that I could really, really advertise it. And so when people, they not only like hear it, they can actually see the vision and understand how to take the 8 steps into their purpose.
So Miss Erica, I'm gonna tell you right now, based on what you do and how you've been going about doing it, I'd be honored to do. Yeah. Like I would feel like telling you no, I'll be doing myself a disservice. Like,
I love it. So y'all connect offline. Y'all get each other. Y'all follow each other. Connect. I love it. See that? Look at God. All right. Okay. So right quick, let's go into. I want to go on to that Asbury Park trailer, Robin. This is coming out when, Kiana?
February 27th, which is coming up real fast. So that's next week. Yeah, man.
Next
day before my birthday.
Okay.
So birthday present to myself.
I love it. So let's go into that trailer right quick.
There's gonna be 2 screenings. So 2 screenings in person and on 28th on Vimeo on demand.
I love it. So where the screening's gonna be? Here in Detroit?
Yeah, Royal Oak Imagine, and then also the drive-in, the Fort Wyoming in Dearborn.
Okay. And people can go, is there a website? Is there Asbury Park website?
It's adpthemovie.com/tickets.
Okay. Okay. So let's go into that trailer right quick. Because was this filmed during COVID, Kiana, or like before?
Yeah, actually. Ken reached out I've known Ken for like a long time. Ken used to do like urban novels. So that's how we knew each other when I was still modeling. So I was supposed to be on one of his book covers years ago. And we just never got it. It just never got off the ground. We never did it. So he just, forayed into filmmaking not too long ago. His son is a very phenomenal basketball player. Matter of fact, he's been getting a lot of press with Oakland University. And so he focused on him a lot. And then once he got him to the point where he's at now, he decided that was one of his dreams, was to get into filmmaking. So this is one of his projects.
I love it. Okay, let's go ahead and check out this trailer.
Let me ask you a question. What's the first thought that goes through your mind when the police rolls up on you?
Where you running, huh?
Yeah, slow your ass down.
I hope I don't get a ticket.
I hope that I make it home alive.
Quite frankly, I was in fear for my life. The suspect was not compliant with our orders and was just obstructing our investigation.
So sick of going to funerals already.
The Civil Rights Act only resulted because of a nation of African Americans coming together and taking a stand.
You people think it's okay to break the law.
Where these motherfuckers at? Where they at?
She like the police.
I don't give a fuck!
Like Rosa Parks refused to go to the back of the bus? That was considered breaking the law. So apparently you gotta break the law to do what's right.
I mean, this city is like a wall-less prison. You know what I'm saying? The same people that say they gonna protect you, those usually be the one that kill you.
This is America.
This is America, where I would love to walk freely, he would love to run freely, and I'm sure he would love to drive freely. But that isn't the case. Here, it's just a fight to breathe.
You give a fuck about no police, man? You scared? Huh? What's up?
You scared? I'll take you to church.
I love it. So we have some heavy hitters in there, Glenn Plummer and Snoop from The Wire. So Kiana, you play, right quick, who do you play?
So my character is Attorney Christy Glenn. And Attorney Christy Glenn is a pivotal character for the direction that one of the younger characters decides to go into from their experience meeting her. And it was a horrible experience. Like, this movie is actually based on true events. So Ken, him and some of his friends growing up, these are based off of some of his experiences and his friends' experiences. Just
I'm sure.
Asbury Park, which is why it's named Asbury Park. So as you can see in the video, it touches on police brutality, which is parallel to what we've experienced for God knows how long. And then it's been paramount this past year with the rest of the world seeing what we as a people and some of our peers have experienced, like parents, grandparents. So this is kind of like a mirror to what's reflected in society currently. So it also touches on mental health awareness as well, and just like trauma in general.
I love it.
Yes,
right.
Face.
I love it. I love it. So that's out next week. Okay, you all make sure you also follow Kiana. Right quick, I want everyone to give your social media, and then I'm gonna move. Well, first we'll move to Chrissy to wrap up with you. What were you doing during COVID?
Trying to keep it together. I had my daughter right in December, and being new from here, being new to Detroit, and being an entrepreneur, I kind of had to hit the ground running a little bit. So March is when I had got my first job or returned to work after maternity leave, and COVID happened. So in the process of me having that job, I also had events lined up with my business as well. All that was taken away from me. And honestly, I was depressed for a little while. And it was around June and when I kind of came out of everything, and I was like, why am I being this way? Like, I'm a hustler. I know how to go out here and get this bread. Why am I sitting at home tripping? So that's what inspired me to actually do one of the events I had hosted in September. I started working on my events for September and started planning out how I wanted my year to go. And June is when I started planning everything. And this Coming to America pop-up bar I was actually supposed to do back before COVID. So, it's just like, it's definitely been a whirlwind for sure. But, I maintained, I think I did okay. Me and my daughter just stayed at home. That's it.
Right. And maybe sometimes you need to go through a period of depression to come out of it. You got to know, you got to be in the valley to understand the greatness of the peaks.
Right.
By the way, love the book Peaks and Valleys, Lisa.
Yeah, that's good. Hey, share it because
that's true. We got to go through the valleys to get to the peaks so we can enjoy it. So I want everyone, we've got a minute left. I want to thank you all for joining us. Right quick, if you can just let everyone know where to follow you on social media. I appreciate you all. Just know that you're part of the Rocki's reality family now. Please reach out to me if you need anything further. And I trust that you all will be able to connect offline with each other. Now that I'm sure it's something that each of you can do for each other and collaborate on. So starting with you, Lisa, where can people find you?
So drlisawicker.com, and that's drlisawicker.com, and also careermaster.com. You can pick up the tickets for the event at careermaster.com or the magazine and my book.
All right.
Keep going. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Erica.
Okay. So I'm on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Erica Lynn Speaks. And the website is ericalynspeaks.com. So go to ericalynspeaks.com to get your free download, 3 Steps to the Best You.
Love it, Booker.
You can find me under my alias, East Paul Snow. Again, that's EASTPAWSNOW.com. All my social media links are on there as well as my new video links. to my book. All of my information is really easy to find on there. On Facebook, you can find me also at East Paul Snow or at Booker Snow.
Love it, love it. All right, Kiana.
So I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. If you follow me personally, it's Kiana M as in Mary on Instagram, and then Kiana M Davis on Facebook. But I also have the pages for the journal. So it's irememberher.net is the website. I remember her on Facebook, and then on Instagram it's _I remember her.
Love it. Okay, and Chrissy.
Yes, you can find me on Instagram. Oh, Chrissy is what I prefer most of the time. Yes. I'm sorry. You can find me on Instagram, K1 Services, the letter K, the number 1, and services, and everything will be listed there. To find tickets for the event, it's Coming to America popup.myshopify.com. I also wanted to mention this, Jewel. I dropped a discount code just for the viewers of the show today. There's a 30% discount code. It only lasts till midnight, only till midnight. Get your tickets now, 30% off. The promo code is Rocki, ROCKI, all caps.
I love it. Get your tickets. All right.
Get your tickets now. They're going to sell out.
Get those tickets. All right. Love it. Yes. And coupon code ROCKI, all caps.
Yes. Yes.
Rocki. I love it. I love it. Absolutely. Okay. So thank you all again. And to all the viewers, you're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you. You said what?
You said one last thing, Rocki?
Yeah.
One last thing before we go. So about the screenings next week and the Vimeo on demand. When you go to A as in Apple, B as in boy, P as in park, themovie.com, please support, because this is not only helping the young actors. A lot of them, this is their first time ever being in the film. This is also benefiting Caleb's kids. So a portion of the proceeds of all ticket sales are going to benefit the Caleb's Kids Foundation.
Which is a foundation for children who lost a parent. Is that Caleb's
yes.
or experienced a death? Nonprofit. Okay. All right. So thank you all for joining us. I appreciate you all. To everyone watched on Facebook and Instagram, YouTube Live. I appreciate you all. I'll be back on air March 4th. We are going to be talking to people who are recovering from COVID.
Oh, wow.
So that's going to be quite a show there, because it's going to be a year that we're going into COVID. And so we need to talk about where are we at a year later. A lot of people have recovered, but they are not fully recovered. A lot of them are still experiencing some health issues. So want to delve into that. So I appreciate everyone and have a good night. Thank you all again. And please reach out. Take care. Bye-bye.